Is this thing on? Welcome back to Movies TV Man. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Man. And welcome to Monday's, not just DCEU Daily, but Movies TV Daily, because I have a lot to talk about. So very, very soon, first of all, we will discuss what my sources told me about the Flash movie. Very, very interesting. We will talk about Ray Fisher now putting the official Snyder Cut poster on his Twitter banner. What does that mean? We'll be talking about the power of the dog versus the Coda controversy, because I've got something very heavy to say about that. And if you follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mag, you know I've got lots to say about it, and I find the whole situation so hilarious. And finally, we will talk about the rumours that Hugh Grant will be Russell T Davies' next Doctor. Either first Doctor in a rebooted universe or the 14th Doctor. Very interesting, very exciting. Some people love the idea, some people hate the idea. So let's go. Let's start, of course, with our first port of call, the DCEU. So I was sent an email by one of my sources yesterday updating me on the Flash situation. I did tell you that I would have some information. I did post a tweet, right? And I'll read the tweet out to you, because I did post a tweet yesterday, because then I can just read it kind of as it is. So let's go. I've been told the Flash movie date is a placeholder date and not actually a release date. So that's the first part of it. We'll take this part by part. So this is a placeholder date and not a release date, according to my source. And of course, take this with a pinch of salt, as we take all kind of stuff from sources. But I always suspected that this film wasn't going to be released next June, and it's a placeholder date. But what does that mean? That means they're not even sure in its current form that they're actually going to release it. I'll go one better. They probably won't. At this moment in time, they're discussing what to do with this, I'll be honest with you, from what I'm hearing, an abomination of a film. I don't think, from what I've heard about it, it can be released in the state that it's in. So that's an interesting one, isn't it? What happens to this movie? So, as I said to you, once it was delayed for 7 months, there were big problems. Anyway, we go on. And not actually a release date. I have also been told that there are significant elements of the film that the incoming new leadership find aggressively disrespectful. And that's what I said, basically, right? Aggressively disrespectful by Zaslav and Discovery. That's what they're saying. What do they mean by this? Well, from what my source actually tells me in detail is that the current Flash movie, in the state that it's in, tries to take down the Snyderverse. The rumour from My Time to Shine and Grace Randolph last year, a rumour that I didn't believe at the time, because I didn't want to believe it, because I was on this multiverse strategy bandwagon, wasn't I? Was that Henry Cavill was not going to be in the movie, in brand new footage. They were actually going to use stock footage from Man of Steel. So I think we can all agree, and this actually sounds like this is true. I mean, who makes that stuff up anyway? You wouldn't even make that stuff up anyway. So it sounds like this is true. So this film is in a hell of a lot of trouble, everyone. And what do we do with a problem like The Flash? Well, listen, they're going to come over very soon. The takeover will happen and decisions will have to be made. Because I said to you at the time when this film was delayed, and as I say, take this with a pinch of salt, but I told you at the time there must be one hell of a problem for this film to be delayed 7 months. In fact, where we are now, it's over a year to its release. Don't forget, it was just about 6 or 7 months when it was going to be in November, or whatever the space was going to be. Aggressively disrespectful. Basically, aggressively disrespectful to what Zack Snyder built up. Because like it or not, a lot of people do like Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. The DCEU is Zack Snyder's franchise, whether you like it or not as well. This is what I believe they should do when they come in Discovery. I believe that they should give the DCEU to Zack Snyder. And Zack literally believes the DCEU for him is Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and the Snyder Cut. I don't know if he includes Wonder Woman in that and the Suicide Squad movie. I do, but because they kind of went away from what he was doing with Suicide Squad and what he was doing with David, maybe he doesn't class that one. I don't know about Wonder Woman. Anyway, so I think they should give the DCEU to Zack. That's his Earth, that's his universe. Call it an Elseworld. You could disband the other movies, right? Give up, right? But let Zack have that universe and his 3 movies and his other 2 Justice League movies, and hopefully Ben Affleck's Batman movie as well. That's where that can be. And, you know, Warner Brothers Discovery can set up a new mainstream Earth 1 where they can start again. They can develop a DC Studios and a good, a good environment called Warner Discovery Pictures with a good leader. So we can start again with a mainstream universe, but we can have Zack's universe as the DCEU. He's the one who started it, like it or not. And this is what should have happened from the very beginning. You don't bring in Christopher Nolan to set up a mainstream universe for DC. You get him to set up something alternative, because the Dark Knight trilogy is alternative. That's not an Earth 1 either. It's very real world. That's what Nolan does, and that's why Nolan brought another director who brings these superhero characters into the real world. So this is what should happen. So my suspicions of The Flash, and as I say, all got to be taken with a pinch of salt, but my suspicions seem to be confirmed, and I did say to you lot, this is what was going on. These are the people who hacked, using CGI, hacked to death Henry Cavill's upper lip. So are you surprised that they put stock footage from Man of Steel in there? How can you be surprised that this film is rumoured to be aggressively disrespectful to what Snyder set up? Now, Ben Affleck has said this is the best Batman he's ever done in this Flash movie. That's a bit confusing. Now, is that a press line? Although he did say, as long as it's not compromised. So, he knows the people he's just worked for. That's an interesting thing as well. What happens to his character? He was talking about it a great way to end his character. Then Ezra Miller was laughing. What's going on here? It sounds to me that when Ezra Miller made that post on his Instagram story, maybe he had the knowledge that the Flash was in trouble and that the Flash either was going to be delayed and reshot or never be seen at all. Who knows? But maybe he knew then that the Snyderverse was going to be restored. And that's why he laughed when, from a journalist article saying that the Flash is the last time we'll see Batfleck, because he knew the Snyderverse would be restored and Ben will be back in Justice League 2 and Justice League 3 and even, hopefully, fingers crossed, the Batfleck movie. Maybe that's what Ezra Miller actually meant. I really hope so. But it's very, very interesting to me what's happening here. Now let's talk about Ray Fisher. Someone I've been positive and negative about, because we can't always be positive about people if we don't agree with them, and that's okay. It doesn't mean we have to be enemies. Unfortunately, Ray Fisher took it the wrong way and blocked me, and that's okay. We live in a society of free will. He's losing out on a supporter because just because I disagreed with him doesn't mean I don't respect him and respect the fact that he took the Justice League reshoots to an investigation. I respect that, and I think he's an amazing cyborg, and I don't know how anyone will be able to kind of repeat what he achieved on the Snyder Cut. It's called Balance Ray. Try it. Anyway, so Ray Fisher has taken an official Snyder Cut poster and put it on his Twitter banner. What could this mean? Now, he didn't do this on the day we were celebrating a year since the Snyder Cut was released, so that's interesting. Now, don't forget, Joe Manganiello has also got a Deathstroke Snyder Cut picture on his profile picture over on Instagram. Something, my friends, is definitely going on here. And I do now believe the Snyderverse is going to be restored. Now, you know how film entertainment is and media and news is. Things change all the time. I could be here tomorrow saying I was wrong. But right now, I believe that the Snyderverse is going to be restored. So, as we're here, and these actors are throwing these hints out there, how can this work? Because I think this is the interesting. Let's look at timetables. The interesting thing, I missed out a word because I'm so excited. But yeah, here's the interesting thing. Let's talk about Zack Snyder's timetable. So he's working on 2 Rebel Moon movies. So that's interesting. So not only does he have to shoot 2 Rebel Moon movies, but he'd have to do the post on 2 Rebel Moon movies. That means he's definitely out of action for this entire year. So could he complete these 2 movies in a year? Probably unlikely. So I think he wouldn't be able, but this is an interesting thing because I want to correct myself here. Because once he's shot the movie, he could probably start with Justice League 2 and Justice League 3, while at the same time doing post. So he could kind of get his team to deal with a lot more of the post, but he'd want to be supervising that because Rebel Moon is a huge project for Zack. No question about that. This is something that he pitched to Lucasfilm. It was rejected. This was originally a Star Wars project. We know how much he respects the writings of Joseph Campbell. This is something that Zack Snyder's. This is his life work. So he's not going to rush it. I think realistically, he could be free next summer or maybe next fall. So he could start work on Justice League 2 and Justice League 3 in about September, October of 2023. Now, this is the studio's fault and Warner Brothers Pictures' fault for treating him this way and not allowing him to finish what he started. Both times, 2 times, when he was actually involved with the DCEU, when he came back to release the Snyder Cut. He could have been working at WB on DC now, on these 2 Justice League movies, not on Rebel Moon. Not that I don't want him to make that movie, because I'm really, really excited. I can't stop thinking about this man doing a space opera adventure, kind of R-rated in a way. You know, it's going to be amazing. But anyway, so I think that Zack would be ready to start working on Justice League 2 and 3, maybe in October of 2023. And I'm happy with that. I'm happy. That's exciting because it means, you know, I mean, he's not even in his 60s yet. I think he's 59 or something. Maybe he's 60. Right. Plenty of time ahead of him, you know, barring any accidents or anything. So, you know, it's not like he's an 80-year-old man. So there's nothing to worry about. So what about the cast? Well, the cast is interesting. So Ben Affleck would come back just like that. The issue, and I don't even think Henry's an issue, considering he's not really involved in the central DCEU right now. I'm going to sneeze any minute, just to let you know. But, because it's really cold in this kitchen. But anyway, so I think Ben Affleck's no problem. I think Gal and Henry and Jason would all want to do it. But obviously, it's the scheduling. It's what they're doing in the central universe. It's interesting. Do we say now that Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa and, you know, Ezra Miller are not playing the central DCEU Justice League when they're with Zack, that they're in this Elseworld now? Or is it just easier just to say the DCEU belongs to Zack Snyder and those other films, forget about them? It's just the 3 films he started with, Man of Steel, BVS, and the Snyder Cut, right? And they're his Justice League, right? And forget the central DCEU, because they literally hijacked his franchise and tried to make it into a central universe, which was never going to work anyway. So, you know, forget about those other films, right? But it's a problem, of course, because James Wan's working hard. You know, David F. Sandberg's working hard. I'm not suggesting that this is going to happen. But you have to kind of think of this. And, you know, obviously Wonder Woman cameos in Shazam! Fury of the Gods. A film I want to see. Of course I do. But if you want to bring Zack Snyder back, they're going to have to be made some serious decisions made. Now, there's another way of doing it, of course. Within the Flashpoint, you can change things to say that this is the DCEU Justice League. And after Flashpoint in the Central Universe, there's a new Justice League with Shazam and others, but not Gal's Wonder Woman and not Jason's Aquaman. Now, this is a problem because they're very popular and they want them. So these are the complications that would have to be ironed out. But David Zaslav and Discovery know that this is something that the audience are so desperate for. Not all the audience, but me and millions of people around the world want the Snyderverse restored. And we know this. So my gut feeling right now is that something is going to happen. Whether it does or not is anyone's guess, but watch this space. I think we're in very, very exciting times. Now, away from the DCEU, let's talk about awards season, everyone. Now, I used to love the Oscars and awards season. I used to fantasize about standing on stage, taking my Oscar, and thanking all these amazing, famous people. We have those fantasies, don't we? Recently, I haven't been interested in awards season. It's been, well, it's what entertainment has become now. Political speeches rather than talking about the art and the entertainment of it all. But something interesting has developed because the industry believed that the Jane Campion film, Power of the Dog, was going to sweep everything ahead of her. That film was going to win everything. All of a sudden, a little movie that only cost $10 million to make, Coda, about a deaf lady, is sweeping all the other awards. And now they're worried. Now, you know how they call us part of a toxic fandom? Well, it's not us being toxic to each other about this. It's entertainment media, everyone. They're biting and biting. They're so triggered because they all want Power of the Dog to win. Now, there's a few dissenting voices in entertainment media who are saying, you know, why shouldn't Coda win? And there's no reason at all. Let's look at Power of the Dog. Now, we saw actor Sam Elliott, a very old actor, getting very upset about the subject matter of Power of the Dog. Now, this just made him look like a homophobe, to be honest with you, and it didn't make him look good. Very idiotic, and Benny Cumberbatch come out and said, this is, you know, toxic masculinity is something we have to look at, blah, blah, blah. But it's very interesting to me because Power of the Dog is obviously about a gay man. So it has homosexual commentary. But apart from that, it's a kind of film you put on in the afternoon, make a cup of coffee and fall asleep to. It's middling, it's mediocre, and it's boring. And just in case you think I'm saying this because I'm homophobic, which I'm not, let's talk about Brokeback Mountain, a gay love story movie. Brilliantly written, brilliantly performed, brilliantly shot. It was a brilliant movie. But you see, there's a difference between Power of the Dog and Brokeback Mountain. Brokeback Mountain was about the film, the art, the story, the performances. But the Power of the Dog is about the message. And this is where we are today. The message. It isn't that good a film. It's a solid movie. It doesn't deserve to sweep all the Oscar awards. But you try and tell these woke critics and entertainment media this. You can't. This is where we are today. So now they're saying, well, some of them are saying, well, anyway, Coda's about deaf representation because everything has to be about the message. But actually, Coda is a really, really good film in its own right and deserves to be winning these other awards it's winning. And if it wins Best Picture and Best Director, good luck to it. Wouldn't it be funny after all that if Power of the Dog doesn't win anything? Maybe Benedict Cumberbatch wins Best Actor. Because they're finding this hard to swallow because they're rising it up as this amazing movie. But let's go back to 2019 when the Joker movie only won for Best Actor of Joaquin Phoenix. He deserved it, but that's all that was won for the movie. And I think Hilda, the lady who composed that beautiful music for the film, won an Oscar as well. Wow, well done to her. Well done to Joaquin. But Todd Phillips didn't win Best Director because even though he was the Best Director, his politics are opposite to them. Now, I don't support those politics. I'm not from the right. But I do believe the power of political discourse. And when you treat someone from the opposite side like they're scum and the enemy, I don't like that. And Hollywood has become like this. The Joker should have been voted Best Film. Best Picture, but it didn't get it. And I was really upset about this. But that's life. You take it on the chin, right? We saw the propaganda that came out about the Joker. It was a very dangerous film. No, it wasn't. We all know that. All the same people knew it was a wonderful film. But anyway, so the power of the dog could end up like the Joker ended up. Now, we had to take it on the chin. Todd Phillips had to take it on the chin. Why shouldn't Jane Campion take it on the chin? And this is another thing. This is another reason they want this movie to win, because it's directed by a female. These are the reasons, because it's got gay commentary. It's not because they think it's an amazing film. And this is where we are today with the way we view our movies and the way we talk about movies. Let me just find you something funny, right? Because this is how they spoke about on Rotten Tomatoes. Hang on a minute. Be patient with me. You've got all day, ain't you, surely? Right, I screenshot the critics' consensus for Coda on Rotten Tomatoes. This will make you laugh. Coda's story offers few surprises, but strong representation and a terrific cast led by Amelia Jones' brilliant performance. Bring this coming-of-age story vividly to life. Wow, 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 wow. How do you do that as a critic and say, but strong representation? Why should representation be part of your kind of what you're saying about a film? What I'm saying is, you shouldn't decide whether a film's rotten or fresh because it's got some good representation. I'll read you the synopsis for Coda. 17-year-old Ruby Amelia Jones is the sole hearing member of a deaf family, a Coda child of deaf adults. So that's the synopsis for that film. It's a really good film. It really is. People now, some of these critics, these toxic critics, remember the same critics that call us toxic fandom, have been saying that Coda is like a Disney Hallmark movie. Imagine that. And they're calling us toxic. I think they're giving us a good run for our money. Don't you? Oh, I think so. So this is what I hope for next Sunday's Academy Awards. I want to see Coda sweep every fucking award because it's great, because it deserves it, and because it's about time these people were taught a very, very hard lesson. And finally today on the Movies TV Mad Daily, on Movies TV Daily, whatever you want to call it, I don't even know what I'm going to call it yet. You'll find out. You already know because you're watching the video. Right, anyway, on today's Movie TV Daily, finally, let's talk about Doctor Who. And of course, ever since Russell T Davies was announced as the new showrunner for Series 14 or Series 1 or whatever it's going to be, right, there's been rumour upon rumour. Now, in my individual Doctor Who videos, I've told you what's going to happen. He's going to reboot the show totally, and it's going to be very different, and he's going to create the shared Doctor Who universe. So very exciting. So, obviously, we've had some crazy rumours. We've had David Tennant as the new Doctor, yeah. We've had, the other day, we had Danny Dyer. I don't know if any of you know Danny Dyer. And now it's Hugh Grant. So Hugh Grant has worked with Russell T Davies before. So is this a possibility? So they can afford someone like that now because they're run by Bad Wolf Productions. That's owned by Sony Television. So Mr. Tardis, one of these annoying fans that you get in all fandoms, thinks he knows it all, says, well, the BBC can't afford him. It's not the BBC who are paying him. The BBC are just going to be broadcasting Doctor Who from now on. Bad Wolf Productions and Sony TV are now running the narrative on this show, whether you want to believe it or want to like it or not. So Hugh Grant is a very realistic casting. So as I say, how do I feel about this? I've loved Hugh Grant since 4 Weddings. He's been amazing. You know, he's a very funny guy. He's a very talented guy. And, you know, I think he's around 60 now. So this could be, you know, Russell T Davies, William Hartnell Doctor, if this is a reboot and this is his first Doctor. So I would find this a very interesting choice. But of course, we've got to take all of this with a pinch of salt. It may not be him. It may be someone else. It could be a woman. It could be anyone. So we don't know at this moment. I would imagine we're still going to have to wait a bit for this announcement, because I have another suspicion that in Jodie Whittaker's final episode that we won't actually see the next Doctor. We'll see her regenerate, but we won't see who she regenerates into, because if this is a reboot, this could be the end of the OG Doctor story. There is a rumour that she actually drowns. So that's interesting. So could she die, or is she underwater and then we see the regeneration energy, like covering the water's tone and colour, but we don't see who she becomes? Who knows? It's very, very interesting with these rumours of a reboot coming, but I personally think it's also very exciting. This has been the Movies TV Daily here on Movies TV Mad with Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you never miss this perfection. And I'll see you again later on with more videos. Until then, until we meet again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.